What you're seeing is 18th century Naples, a major European capital pressed between sea and mountain. From the water, it looks confident, almost staged for arriving eyes. But the same coastline that brings wealth also brings exposure to invasion, to shortages, to storms, and behind it all sits Vesuvius, close enough to be a backdrop, dangerous enough to shape how people think about tomorrow. This video is a walkthrough that balances trade and danger, faith and poverty, spectacle and survival. You're looking at a city map of Naples from the 18th century, proof of scale before we even step into the streets. The dense blocks, the tight lanes, the way neighborhoods press against walls and coastline. This is a capital city growing inward, not outward. Space is limited, so people stack life vertically. Taller buildings, tighter courtyards, fewer open areas. The map also hints at the city's problem. Naples is big, crowded, and constrained. That density will shape everything you see next. Noise, movement, and constant friction. What you're seeing here is Naples as an arriving ship would first understand it, by skyline and coastline. Church domes, palaces, and fortifications present a city that wants to look orderly and powerful. This is not a quiet port. It's a capital with an audience. And the bay is its front door. The sea connects Naples to trade routes, grain supplies, travelers, and naval power. The city's wealth depends on what comes across this water. But that same water also reminds you how exposed Naples is. Open to weather, to blockades, to the world. Every arrival brings opportunity, and every horizon carries uncertainty. You're looking at Naples, where it actually works. The harbour. Boats sit close to the quay. Cargo is moved by hand. Sailors handle rope, barrels, and crates as if the city's survival depends on routine. Because it does. A population this large cannot feed itself without supply lines. Grain, wine, timber, and cloth arrive here every day, and the entire system relies on labor that is physical, repetitive, and easy to overlook. The air here would be salt, tar, damp wood, and smoke drifting from the city behind. What you're seeing here is the presence that Naples can never escape. Vesuvius. It doesn't dominate the city by force. It dominates by proximity. From the harbour, from the streets, from rooftops and hillsides, it is always visible, always part of the view. Sometimes it smokes gently, almost like weather. Sometimes it looks harmless. But Naples remembers the history underneath it. The ground here is borrowed time. That awareness changes behaviour. Life is louder, denser, more urgent. In Naples, tomorrow is not assumed. You're looking at the royal palace, Naples as a seat of rule, not just a port. This is where ceremony and administration live, the visible centre of authority in a city that is crowded and difficult to control. Architecture does part of the governing here. Long facades, formal space, guarded entry points. The palace projects stability, but it sits inside a city that never stops moving. The contrast is the point, order on display, and reality pressing in from every street around it. Power here is meant to be seen, even when it cannot be fully enforced. What you're seeing here is Naples as public theatre. Festival in the open square. Crowds gather, music rises, food and drink circulate, and the city briefly looks united. But these events aren't only celebration. They're pressure valves. They absorb frustration, interrupt hardship, and remind the crowd that power is present, even when it's distant. Nobles watch from edges. Guards remain visible. The palace and the square share the same space, but not the same reality. In Naples, spectacle isn't decoration. It's part of how the city holds together. You're looking at everyday Naples, movement as a permanent condition. Vendors call out, children run messages, carts squeeze through streets that were never designed for traffic. Homes open directly onto public space, so private life spills outward. Bargaining, arguments, prayers, work. This isn't disorder for its own sake. It's adaptation. In a city this dense, the street becomes the living room, the shop, and the workplace all at once. Naples runs on small transactions repeated endlessly, coin by coin, step by step. What you're seeing here is Carnival, Naples letting the rules loosen. Masks appear, noise multiplies, behavior becomes bolder, because identity becomes safer to hide. Carnival is an outlet for a city under strain. It offers permission, temporary, carefully contained. For a short time, hierarchy softens, and the crowd feels louder than authority. Laughter, excess, and parody fill the streets, giving voice to tensions that cannot be spoken the rest of the year. But it's designed to end. When it fades, order returns with the lesson intact. You were allowed to breathe, and now you go back to working. You're looking at a religious scene that explains something essential about Naples. Belief is part of survival. Church spaces offer routine in a city shaped by uncertainty. Faith here isn't abstract, it's practical. It organizes the year, the neighborhood, the family. It gives meaning to hardship and a language for fear. Ritual becomes structure, especially where political control feels distant or uneven. And beside devotion sits poverty, close and constant. Families live near the edge. Charity and community matter as much as wages. In Naples, religion doesn't replace reality. It helps people endure it. Here is Naples at a distance, as the light falls and the city briefly looks calm. Ships settle, the harbor slows, smoke rises softly from rooftops, and the mountain remains in the same place it always was. From far away, Naples can look timeless, almost peaceful. But the day's forces don't disappear. Density, labor, danger, and need continue under the surface. Naples endures by intensity. It lives fully because it cannot afford to assume stability. Seen together, these views explain Naples clearly. A major capital sustained by the sea, crowded by necessity, governed through spectacle and architecture, anchored by faith, and always living under the awareness of Vesuvius. The city is not defined by one mood. Celebration and hardship exist side by side. That is what made Naples so vivid in the 1700s. Not a postcard, a functioning, noisy, complicated place. Balance between beauty and risk every single day.